Hello and welcome to the next Lukozer retro game review video, and this one started off rather quiet. This is Cyclons, which is I forget who it is who published this, but it was released in it was either 84 or 85. Now the reason I started this video from this point is that there is something in particular that I want you to listen to. So let's start the game. Here we go. Okay, so there you go. A rendition of the Star Wars theme. Now, if you are a regular viewer of my videos and have been for quite some time, that might have sounded a bit familiar. Over a year ago, I reviewed the game The A-Team, which is quite infamous as being one of the shittiest games on the Commodore 64 ever published. That's not just my opinion, that is everybody's opinion. And that game, okay, it was written and published with no permission to use the 18 license or the character names or anything like that. It also used the Star Wars theme for its music, indeed the only sound in the game at all. Now, despite, as well as the fact that it had absolutely fuck all to do with the A-Team, it also was put in without permission. But if you listened to this version that has just played, you may think it sounds very similar. There's a good reason for it, because whoever it was who made the 18 game took the rendition of the Star Wars theme from this game, sped it up a bit and put it in the 18. So not only did he make the A-Team without any license, not only did he use the Star Wars theme without permission, but he didn't even compose that music. He just ripped it off this game, sped it up a bit and called it his own work. So whoever it was who wrote the Commodore 64, the A-Team game, is clearly a cunt in every way you can imagine. Right, now I've got that out of the way, let's get on with Cyclons. Now, in fact, I'll just also point out that this game used the Star Wars theme without permission as well, but there you go. At least whoever it was who wrote this game actually wrote that music themselves. That's the only time any music appears in this game, so at least you only get to hear it the once, which is probably just as well because it is done at such a fucking slow rate. Now, so we saw there that this game was published by Syntax. Actually, that might have been just the dev team. I can't imagine it was a team. I'm sure it was just one person, so we'll say it was Syntax who published it as well. Now, this option screen, this only appears once in the game. Once you've selected your options, that's it. You are stuck with them. If you want to change them, you've got to reload the game. So we can, well, you can see you can have terrain on or off. I'll keep it on for this video. You can have ricochet on or off. I'll keep it off because the ricochet, the bullets bounce everywhere, and it means that you can destroy your own ship with your shots. We'll keep the ranking on. We'll put the difficulty on expert. I mean, the game isn't that difficult, but if you put it on expert, it means that there are more ships on screen, and there are also some different ships. Put it on beginner, the most enemy ships on screen at any time is 2, and they're always the same fucking thing. So, yeah, we'll keep it on expert. Right, I think that's it. Let's get a game underway. So here we are. You are this green ship here, which bounces around everywhere and isn't easy to control. And you are up against these fuckers here and trying not to crash into the scenery. Now, I'm not actually used to playing it on this difficulty setting, and I'm fast finding out why. It's a lot more difficult than I was expecting. Now, as you can see, when your ship explodes, the explosion can destroy the enemy ships in the area. They can also crash into each other, and it can become a bit chaotic. Oh, fuck off. Fucking game over already. Yeah. Right, as in fact, oh fuck it, now let's just have another go. So let's get the review underway. The graphics are ridiculously basic, but I mean, at least there is some sort of sophistication insofar as you can fire in directions completely independent to the direction that your ship is actually travelling. So it has some sort of like work gone into it. Clearly though, in terms of graphics, very little work has gone into it. They just are extremely basic. They're all one colour. There's no multicoloured sprites. The scenery, which you can see there, the landscape, it's not randomly generated. It's always like that. So yeah, get used to it really. That's how it's always going to be. The only time you can make the background or the landscape any different is to just have it not there at all. And what you are seeing, this is the entire game. There's no variation, you know, there's no different ships. These, whatever these things are, the things that look like alien boomerangs or something, and that pink UFO thing, they're the only ships in the game. And well, like I say, what you are seeing here, this is the whole thing. You know, this is everything. So graphically very basic. Even in 1985 these graphics were very basic. Audio, well, the rendition of Star Wars is pretty shite. The sound effects are, I mean, they're not exactly horrendous, but there's nothing, you know, superb about them. There's nothing particularly great about any of it. And the gameplay, I'll say the gameplay is quite simplistic. What you've seen here is the entire game. about the only thing that shows any sort of like advanced programming, if you can really call it that, is the fact that your ship can fire in several or 8 directions completely independently of the direction you're travelling, and that's about it. So I must admit, this is a game that I did have back in the day. I also have to confess that back in the day I did play this quite a bit. Playing it now, I'm struggling to see why I used to play it so much, but yep, I did. But clearly it's an unbelievably basic game, which even in 1985 this should have been a budget title, you know, a real like Mastertronic job. I mean, okay, it's clearly not been made with Game Creator, you know, the fucking shitty thing that the Darling Brothers always used, but it's not much better than a Games Creator title. And there's really not a great deal else to be said about it. It's instantly forgettable. It's just a real huge fucking great pile of fuck all. I mean, it's not complete bollocks, but it is bollocks, that's for sure. You know, going from, it's a thing, I would have been playing Astron Belt down the arcades for almost 2 years, and then I come back to this. Talk about a fucking reality check. So, yes, graphics unbelievably bland and boring and basic and shit. Audio, again, unbelievably bland, boring and, well, they're not shit, but bland and boring. And gameplay, unbelievably bland, boring and shit. So this game really does not have a great deal going for it. And I'm pretty sure this was a full price game back in the day. It was 10 quid. I think it was anyway. This was a game that my mum bought me, which is making me think it wasn't 10 quid. It might have been 5 quid. I know it definitely wasn't a budget release. It wasn't a $1.99 or $2.99 job. So, but even with taking, you know, a budget price tag into account, which this didn't have, it still is piss poor. I score this game 2 out of 10 because, well, there are some variations. You can get a little bit of replay value, I suppose, because you can turn on and off the terrain. You can have the ricochet effect on there, but ultimately it's well, just one unbelievably basic shoot 'em up that doesn't have a great deal going for it. So there you go, that is Cyclons, 2 out of 10, instantly forgettable. Now, my next video will be my 250th. And originally I intended the 250th video to be Astron Belt. That's when I was going to start doing my Laserdisc reviews, but of course I've already done a load of those, and although I know I will be doing at least 4 more, I really want to do a 5th, but the 5th game that I'm considering, I think I'm going to have a hard time getting that running in an emulator. The 250th video will be something a bit different. I won't say it's going to be something special, because it certainly is not going to be something special for me. It's a game that I've had several people request me to do on numerous occasions, because it is the sequel to a game that I've already reviewed, and in the review just about every expletive known to man was spouted while I was playing the fucking thing. So that may give some of you a bit of a clue. So I think they just wanted to hear me getting fucked off with playing a game I hate and getting nowhere whilst trying to play it. And like some kind of fucking masochist, I've decided that that will be the 250th review. So, well, I'll save that one till tomorrow. I can't face doing it today. So there we go. Anyway, so that is this one done. Cyclons, 2 out of 10. Forgettable shit. And that brings this video to an end. And we will see you in the 250th.